Sometimes this is just a facade, it's just a firewall that is hiding a deeper issue. And very often, the deeper issue is an unwillingness to commit and a romance with indecision.
You played games in your 18th, your teens and your 20s, and maybe a little bit maybe in your 30s, but at this point, I agree with you, sir.
And I think it's really important because some of those questions, there are always questions behind them. So sometimes you have to be able to read beyond the question.
Yeah.
What are they really afraid of? This person is going to be irresponsible.
It's a privilege to introduce my guest today. He's no other person than my pastor, my friend, my mentor, big brother. We've known each other for many years back in Nigeria and now in the UK. And he's been consistent. He's been part of my life for a long time. He's seen me go through it and out, and he's been there. So today, I'm so happy he's here. He's happily married to Pastor Abby, beautiful Pastor Abby, for 25 years. So it's not a joke. Everything he's going to tell us today is from experience, anointing, and grace. So I have the privilege to also observe his marriage for most of that time. I'm confident to say that they are both exemplary and instructive leaders, and their marriage speaks for itself. So today, I want to introduce to you my friend, my pastor, my boss. I work with him as well, Dr. Temi Odejide.
Thank you, Jojo. Thank you for having me on here today. I'm so honored and so pleased to be here. Thank you for having me here. Just like you've observed me over a number of decades now, so have I observed you over a number of decades. And I've seen you grow, I've seen you mature in so many respects. And I'm super proud of you. So thank you for even thinking of having me on your podcast. So let's see where we
No.
go with this.
Okay. Let me be context. Pastor Temi is the one that gave me this name. So I walked into his office one morning and I said, "Oh, Pastor Temi, my podcast, I'm looking for a name." So I gave him a list of names and he said, "Oh, switch this with vibes. What do you think?" And that was it. Boom. Light bulb moment. I said, "That's the one. That's the one." I'm still owing him his honorarium for that. Don't worry. When I blow.
I remember that conversation. And now you've said it in public about the honorarium. So I'll look out for it.
I go blow. I will blow. Honorarium shall come, Pastor Temi.
Vibes with Jojolicious. Yes.
Welcome, sir. So today we're looking at a very interesting topic, and I'm trusting God, and I know that Pastor Temi will do justice to it. How to know if he's ready. If you think we know everything we're going to talk about today, a joke. We are going to go in so many ways, difficult questions, difficult conversations, because this podcast is not for kids anyways, for mature singles, mature women. So let's go right into it. When women ask, how do I know if he's really ready? What do you think they really mean? Or what are they really afraid of?
That's a very, very, very good question. And I'm going to try to answer it this way. And you've already kind of answered it because what they are saying is that they are afraid. That question is coming from a place of fear. They are afraid of investing years in a man who will never really commit. So they are concerned that I'm about to enter into something that I'm not sure this person is 100% in it with me. And typically that question is coming from a place of fear. They're afraid that he won't be faithful. Maybe they're already seeing signs that this person is not going to be faithful. They're afraid that he won't be responsible. And maybe they've already even seen some red flags in the relationship that they're afraid are going to become realities if they enter into a long-term relationship. So at the core of that question is fear. Am I building a future with him or am I wasting time on him?
I agree. Because so many women by the time you clock 35, they say age is a number, but we know we're all getting old. By the time you clock 35, it's not just about romance, it's about time, it's about energy, it's about the emotional safety. You want to be sure that this is it. There's no time. You don't even have the time to play games. You played games in your 18th, in your teens and your 20s, and maybe a little bit maybe in your 30s, but at this point, I agree with you, sir.
And I think it's really important because some of those questions, there are always questions behind them. So sometimes you have to be able to read beyond the question.
Yeah.
What are they really afraid of? They are afraid that this person is not going to be faithful. This person is going to be irresponsible. I'm already seeing signs. So is this person worth investing my time in, or is it better that I quickly cut it off now and get on with my life?
Yeah, I agree. And also afraid of rejection because there's so much rejection a woman can get in her lifetime. So you get to a certain age, you feel like at this point, it's either it or it's not it. You're not ready to go along 1 year, 2 year, and then it's rejection you're getting. And if what happened to you, this is my personal opinion though, but if in your 20s or 30s that happens to you and you survive it, if it happens in your 40s or 50s, it hits harder because you think something is obviously wrong with you.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what I think.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you that because you now have a lot of history, by the time you're more mature, you are even more deliberate in even venturing into relationship. So now to enter into relationship carefully and cautiously and still end up getting a rejection, it can be doubly painful. Of course, when you're younger, you feel like I can bounce back from this, but artificially or maybe reality, depending on your perspective, is there's not that much space for bounce back now. So I've got to get it right. But
Yeah.
I say artificially because sometimes some of those pressures we are putting on ourselves, they're not necessarily real.
Mm, true.
Mm, mm.
True. Okay, PT. My next question is from a man's perspective. I'm happy I'm discussing with a man on this subject because sometimes we think we know what men want. So, from a man's perspective, what does I'm ready for marriage actually mean? Practically, what does it mean?
Well, you see, fortunately or fortunately, dependent on perspective, men, particularly from the cultures that we come from, but not just in the cultures that we come from, I've been exposed to the larger world, and I find that it is universal or largely universal. Men feel that marriage is about provision,
Mm,
being able to provide for your wife and for your children. And because they have that mindset, typically when a man says, I am ready, in his mind, he's thinking, okay, now I have the resources to get married.
mm,
Because they boiled down marriage all the way down to financial resources, the ability to provide. And so the converse is also true that typically when a man says not ready, what he's saying, he's been culturally conditioned to believe is that I don't yet have enough money to take care of a woman, let alone to be married. But sometimes this is a smoke screen.
mm.
Sometimes this is just a facade. It's just a firewall that is hiding a deeper issue. And very often, the deeper issue is an unwillingness to commit and a romance with indecision.
Romance with indecision.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So they're unwilling to commit and they're having a romance with indecision. And so the easier thing to just say is that I'm not ready because I don't yet have money. I don't yet have this. I don't have enough of that. In fact, what it is a lot of the time is that they simply have not fallen head over heels in love with the person. So they are not sure that this is the person because those same people, and I know you know multiple stories, the person that was saying, I'm not ready, and so on and so forth. Then
Mm.
1 month down the road, meet somebody. Next thing you are seeing wedding invitation
Right.
card. I wonder, but this person, this person strung me along for so long,
Yeah.
not being ready. And then he's getting ready, he's getting married in 9 months' time, in 6
Mhm.
months' time. What changed? What changed is that he found somebody that he was now head over heels in love with. And once a man finds somebody like that or has that type of connection, he gets himself ready. Even if he was
Mm.
before, he will do whatever it takes, move heaven and earth, move everything around to be ready to marry that person. So that's the truth. That's the truth. It might be a bit of a hard truth, but that's the truth. When a man, sometimes the statement "I'm not ready" is not the true statement.
But that, Pastor Miam, so when a woman says she's ready for marriage, it means it means she's ready. That if I get into any relationship now, I will work it because I'm ready to go the 100 yards, you know. But I feel like for a man, if you're not ready, then don't get into a relationship. Just make friends. Don't make anybody special. Don't make anybody feel like you could be the one. Just be friends. So why would a man who is not ready, you know you're not ready. You know that you're not feeling that thing that should make you ready. If it's that maybe you're not in love with the person, or is that you're not financially there yet, you know, as a man to say, okay, I can take care of this woman now. Why do men go on that journey of real relationship when they know they're not ready? Is there something in their mind that tells them they may be ready, or they will change their mind, or they're just having fun?
Well, unfortunately, there's a measure of just having fun that is going on there. But apart from the whole just having fun thing, it's in the man's head, he's not thinking like you're thinking about readiness or not readiness. So
Mm,
that's a question that women ask. A man is not asking, am I ready? Am I not ready? That's not his preoccupation. His preoccupation is, I'm looking for the one. So, and the reason that he's therefore able to be having relationship is trying to find out, is this the one? Is this the one that, yeah, I got to have her? You see, there's a difference from I can live with this person and I cannot live without this person.
mm, mm,
So a lot of the time I can live with this person is a settling for that person. I cannot live without this person is I got to have this person. And a lot of men, that's who they're looking for.
mm,
The one I cannot live without.
mm.
The one that I cannot imagine not being in my life. So he will date and he will have relationship after relationship looking for that one. He's not thinking about readiness or not readiness. He knows that the day he meets the one he cannot live without, he will.
You'll be ready. You'll be ready. Mm, interesting. But is there any tangible evidence a woman should see to say, okay, this guy is ready or not ready? Is that something, if you're in a relationship with somebody, is that something you should look out for to define for yourself to say, this guy is ready for the long haul or he's not ready for the long haul?
Well, there are a few things that I consider to be key signs that a man is ready. Of course, that clear passion for you, that clear is not, there's no ambiguity about it. This guy really, really is crazy about you. Okay.
Mm,
And that's key. The other things that you'll be looking for will be the signs you'll be looking for is that he has moved from a self-centered living to a responsibility-centered living.
mm,
So it's not all about him, what he wants, his dream, his vision, his plans. He's now somebody that is thinking in terms of responsibility. His decisions consistently consider its impact on others.
mm,
So when he's making financial decisions, decisions about his time, decisions about his future, he's always considering you and considering others in that decision he's about to make and the impact that those decisions will have on them. At that point in time, you know that this person is now a person that is thinking like a husband already. Because a
yeah,
husband, the way a husband thinks is that this decision I'm about to make, this is how it will affect my wife, this is how it will affect my children, this is how it will affect my whole ecosystem.
yeah.
So he's moved from self-centered thinking to responsibility. What am I responsible for? And that informs my decision making. Now, when a man is able to just be making flippant decisions with no regard, no thought about how that decision will affect you, who are supposedly in a relationship with him, and other people that are important in his life, he's not ready yet.
Mm.
Playing around. Another key thing that I look for, or that a woman should look for, is emotional stability.
Yeah.
He's got to be emotionally governed, not emotionally reactive. Emotionally reactive, the person that just reacts to whatever is happening. He has to be somebody that has been able to process. He's able to process disappointment. You see how he reacts when he's disappointed. He doesn't go
Mm.
off the handle. He's measured. He knows how to apologize without defensiveness.
Can men really do that, Pastor Tim?
Well, they can, is that they should. We should learn. We all are in a growing process. Some of us didn't learn it. That's why we don't do it.
Yeah.
So they need to learn. They need to be taught
Mm.
that there's a way to apologize without being defensive. There's a way to apologize without without
Explanation.
an explanation. You're simply sorry, and the sorry has to be specific to "I'm sorry for this."
Yeah.
Because once I start adding an explanation, it's no longer an apology. It's a
Yeah. It's an explanation.
you know.
Yeah.
And all of these are the signs of the emotional maturity, the stability I'm talking about. Are they able to communicate without escalation?
Mm.
Can they tell you, can they have those hard conversations with clarity, with balance, without escalating, raising volume and tone, and starting to pull things that are totally unrelated to the clear issue that is being dealt with to
Mm.
inflict some form of pain? That
Mm.
is emotional immaturity. Can he receive correction and handle it? You know? So emotional stability is marital currency. Is the currency we spend that makes a marriage healthy and rich. Yeah. Is that emotional stability.
Mm.
What we go fight to.
So, would you say that when it comes to readiness, is more of it for you to see signs of readiness in a man, is more of actions, not about what they say?
Yes, most definitely. It's definitely more about actions. Words are important.
Yeah.
Beyond the words, I've got to see the actions. I've got to see the actions. I've got to see the pattern. I've got to see the behaviors, not just your
Yeah.
words. Hmm.
Lord help us.
Our helper, he's helping
Yes.
us.
So, Pastor T, what would you say is the biggest misconception we women as Christians have about the readiness of men? They are in the Christian circle because most of my listeners are Christians. So, do women confuse that a man is involved in church as readiness, or did that automatically think that because a man is in his 50s, the man is ready? Or do they over spiritualize the potential? Are we mistaking spiritual language for emotional depth?
Very, very good question right there. Brilliant question. In fact, the question already suggests quite a few answers inside it. But I think that one of the major misconceptions that Christian women have about the readiness of a man to marry them or not is that they believe the lie that it's about money.
Oh,
They believe the lie that the reason he's not committing right now is simply because he does not have enough money. That, oh,
is that not a culture? It's not culture that makes us believe that way.
yes, culture definitely contributes to that because the whole culture and mindset that the entirety of the man's or the husband's role in the marriage is all about provision.
Mm.
What part of what makes us believe that if he can't provide, he can't be married. But the provision that the man is meant to give in marriage is far beyond fiscal, it's far beyond money.
But money day too. No?
Money day, but it's not the whole of the thing. And money will always come.
Yeah.
If I'm waiting for money, it's a smoke screen. I'm not head over heels in love yet.
Mm.
I'm not crazy. I'm not feeling like I've got to have this lady in my life. If I truly cannot, I know that I can't live without her. I would do whatever it takes. And we see men do, I love Michael Bolton's song. It's one of my evergreen songs. When a man loves a woman, hey, as far as I'm concerned, virtually all of the things he said in that song are true. That when a man really loves a woman, he's willing to fight the world and do whatever it takes. So I think a big misconception is when we think it's all about money. It's not really about money. It's about conviction.
Mm.
It's about conviction, how convinced he is that indeed this is the person. So money helps a marriage to run, but conviction is what makes a man enter it.
Mm.
Money is necessary to help a marriage to run, but it is it's conviction that will make the man enter it in the first place. So if he's not
Yeah.
convinced, he's not even going to enter it.
Yeah.
He won't have money and still not enter it because he's not
He's
convinced.
not convinced.
But the day he's convinced, even without money, he will enter.
That's
And
the
say,
hard truth.
somehow, money will find me. I will find money. We will find the money.
That's the hard truth. I agree.
That's
I
it. So, but
absolutely
some of the other
agree.
things you said earlier is also true. I think that sometimes women are deceiving themselves because of the whole desire to be married. So sometimes we can already see through the smoke screen. Oh, he's saying some words, but we can already, our inner man is telling us, saying, this is lying now. This is not telling the truth. But also we want to be led along with the spiritual language.
Mm.
God, I'm doing this, I'm working on that. I beg you, tell us the truth. You are not convinced.
God.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. True. True. We agree to the self-deceit we also have as women. Women are very intuitive, and I think the older you get, the more intuitive you get because you're mature enough to even understand yourself and figure out some things. So you know when a man is stringing you along. You know when there's nothing here. Stop deceiving yourself. But sometimes because we want to stay in the picture, we want to say we're in a relationship. That we're
Mm,
not all by ourselves. We
mm,
just keep deceiving ourselves to stay where we are not supposed to stay for too long. Maybe that person was just supposed to pass by, but we want to make the person residential pastor. It was a visiting guest, a guest speaker, but you want the person to not be your residential pastor, So along the line, we get deceived. And sometimes it's also us, as we get older, you think the clock is ticking right now. So this one that I'm seeing, let me even push it to see if it will get me into marriage. And for me, the off track of what we're saying also for me is you don't have to marry, really. Because I think because we made marriage the core of our relationship with people, we get hooked on once the person comes. The next thing, everybody will even ask you, so when I get married, it does not have to end the marriage, really. Maybe God brought the person into your life for a season. And if you're intuitive enough, you will know when the season expired and
mm.
just move on with your life.
Yeah.
And I feel also we women should also find a way to ask God, should I even be thinking about marriage at this point? Show me something else to invest my emotions, my time, my talent, my purpose into right now than marriage. Because the more you keep, well, culturally you're expected to marry, but if it doesn't happen, will you continue to enter into relationships and be assuming that they will marry you, then they leave you, then you enter into another one? There's no time. There's no time. The rest of the time we have before we retire and start sitting back to enjoy money is impact.
Absolutely agree with you what you're saying right there. It's powerful and it takes some time to get to that place of maturity. One of the verses that really, really, really liberated me, and I believe when people read it and really understand it, it should liberate them also, was Matthew chapter 19, verse 11 and 12 in the message translation. In the message translation, this is what it says. It says, but Jesus said, not everyone is mature enough to live a married life.
Mm,
requires a certain aptitude and grace. Marriage isn't for everyone.
Mm.
Some from birth seem never to give marriage even a thought. Others never get asked or accepted.
Hmm.
Reality.com.
Reality.
And some
Reality.
decide not to get married for kingdom reasons.
Mm.
But you are capable of going into the largeness of marriage. What marriage requires, then do it. But if you are not, know that you are not. This is the problem. Culturally, we've been, and I understand it. Culturally, we've been taught everybody must marry, everybody must marry, everybody must marry. And that has put pressure on us. I'm not saying it's not a good desire to be married, but we also have to embrace the reality that not everybody has the right aptitude, maturity, and grace for marriage. Marriage is not for boys and girls. It's for mature men and women. And it's one of the greatest things that can really shipwreck one's life. So it
Mm.
becomes very, very important to understand this and live with with this reality. I think as a single lady, you have to get to a place where you realize that the entirety of your life is not about getting married. That's not your purpose. You weren't born that, your purpose, your assignment on this earth is to get married. When you get to heaven, the first question you're going to be asked at the pearly gates on the judgment seat isn't are you married? Did you get married?
I'm sorry to interrupt what you are doing listening to this podcast, but I want to take this opportunity to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I know a lot of us listen to me on YouTube, on Spotify, wherever you find me, but please subscribe. Click the subscribe button just now. It's done. Subscribe and invite other people to join in the community. Share and like and subscribe. Thank you. Mm.
Question.
At all.
At all. Heaven is not asking you about that when you get to heaven.
Mm.
Heaven is going to be asking you about your purpose. Have you been
Mm.
a good and faithful servant with what I gave you? Oh God. With
God.
what I put in your hands, were you faithful with it? Too many people are wasting what God put in their hands. And the primary thing that God put in your hand is your time.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So we are wasting it waiting for a utopia of marriage that might happen or might not happen.
Mm.
You've got to lift your purpose in life beyond marriage. It cannot be the be all of life. It cannot be. It's actually just meant to be an enhancer of purpose.
Mm.
It's supposed to enhance our fulfillment of purpose. It's not meant
Yeah.
to be the purpose.
Yes, I
The
agree.
man brought God brought the woman into the man's life as a help meet. So help to do what? Help to fulfill purpose. And
Mm.
two-way street. I have my purpose. She has her purpose. We work together to fulfill purpose, fulfill purpose more effectively, more efficiently, more exponentially. Because one chases 1,000, two chases 10,000, and that two that chases 10,000. That two doesn't necessarily have to be in marriage. That marriage is one of the two, but there are a lot of partnerships that will happen in the course of our lives that are still fulfilling purpose.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, Pastor Temi. Life is about purpose. Marriage is, I feel what part of my understanding of this scripture, seek you first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things shall be added unto you. Marriage is part of all other things. So if and I also feel that Bible said that before I was formed, God knew me. He knows, before I got here today, he knew I wouldn't be married.
Mm.
For every stage of my life, my mistakes, my errors, everything, all of them added up to bring me to where I am today. And God knew before I got here.
Mm.
And he knows what is going to happen in the next couple of minutes after we finish this podcast. And he knows what's going to happen tomorrow next. So why don't I seek him?
Yeah.
And let every other thing align. If marriage does not align, then it does not.
That's the truth.
Oh, yeah. But let's go back to our topic. Let's look at. I'm thinking that when we talk about this readiness, does it have an age? time or whatever pressure is when I know at 25, 40, you say, is readiness different at 25 compared to when you're in your 40s or 50s? What should it look like at that stage? Because a man who wants to, some women go for younger men, yeah, but a man who wants to marry a woman in her 40s or 50s, you would think they're ready. So what's the difference? Because I've met guys in those age bracket who say they're not ready. Do you understand? But I would think that coming from the African girl that I am, you're forced, you're not. When will you be ready? Is it when you're 100? Are you going to be ready for marriage? So I guess my should 40-year-old man still be figuring out himself? What level of structure should exist at that age for a man, if you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get your question, and it's a very, very, very good question indeed that you ask once again. You've got some brilliant questions here. But what I'm going to tell you about readiness is that readiness is not a function of age.
Mm,
It's not a function of age. It's not a function of chronology. Of course, there are societal, cultural expectations that, oh, by the time you are this age, by the time you are that age, you should be this, you should be that. That's external expectations, understandable, but that doesn't mean it is the reality. So readiness is not automatic based upon age. It is not an age issue. Listen, it's a responsibility issue. It's about your relationship with responsibility. It is possible to be 25 years old and be more ready to be married than an indecisive 45-year-old. Yes. Oh, yes. It is very, very possible because the right relationship with responsibility makes you decisive. The wrong relationship with responsibility makes you indecisive. 25-year-old could have already gotten himself to the place where he's responsible. He's taken responsibility not just for himself, but responsibility for everybody that is connected to him. And that those first signs of this person is ready. This person is already displaying the type of mindset that is going to be necessary in marriage. But you could have a 45-year-old that is still avoiding responsibility, that's always still blaming other people and other things for various things inside their life. So often, chronic delay in older men when it comes to marriage is not lack of opportunity.
mm,
Older men have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities. It is actually fear
mm,
disguised as caution.
mm.
What's that fear? What are they afraid of? They are afraid that there's somebody else.
Ah, for the lady or for themselves?
For themselves. They are looking at the one that is in front of them that
Mm,
start a relationship with, but
mm.
maybe there's somebody else that will be better than this one. No?
That age.
Yeah, even at that age, what are you talking about? In fact, it gets worse at that age. Because let me tell you the compound interest and the vicious cycle for both men and women is that when I'm now in that age, it's like, I've waited this long. I'm now in this mature age. I can't now just settle.
Mm.
So that compounds, it actually makes it worse. So it's like, so if I now settle with this one, what if there's somebody else that is better than this one? And then all the people that have been seeing me wait this long, if I now show this one to them, would they not say, so is this what you were waiting for since? So now all of a sudden I'm looking for the best thing on the earth, the most beautiful woman and the most spiritual and most everything on the earth to justify why
The
I
wait.
have waited this long.
Mm.
You are still living for other people and not for
It's
yourself.
nobody's business, really.
It's fair. Being
Mm.
disguised as wise caution is not is fair. And then they're afraid that, if I now settle and I now see somebody that I think is finer, will I be faithful? Will I stay faithful to the one that I chose? Won't I go and find ways of, playing away match?
Well, for that kind of person, Pastor Temi, I think even if the person was ready at 25 or 40 or 50, if the person is randy, the person is randy. So if you've waited to get married, like a man, your 50s, and that's when you say you're ready to marry, and you're still wondering, should I wait more? Maybe I'll see Abani Darego to marry, or should I wait more? Maybe I'll see Juanita Bynum to marry, or somebody that prays like Cora Jakes. And then on top of that, you're saying, well, let me just, maybe I'm settling, but okay, I'll look outside anyway. I'm a man. If you had married in your 30s as well, you will still have those kind of options on your table.
Yeah. You see, that's the thing that's why I talk about responsibility and decision. And I bust people's bubbles to tell you ahead of time. There'll be somebody finer.
Yes.
There'll be
And what the
somebody.
men don't understand is that the women as well,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sure some wives will go out and be like, gosh, who is this? But the person you're gushing over is nothing like, it's not like the man in your house. But
Yeah.
that's the man in your house is your husband. That's who you have.
So
And
it's a
you've
choice.
chosen to be content with that.
Yes. It's a
So
choice. It's a decision,
yeah.
and you stick with that decision. You stay with that decision.
Mm-hmm.
No one of us is complete. Even the person that you're not saying, "Oh my goodness, see how fine." It's
Mm.
the part of that person you do not know. It is
You don't want to know, because if you know, you will go mad.
you know. So you've got to get to that place where you've sorted out those things in your mind and you're ready to make a decision
Yeah.
and stick with this decision.
Okay, BT, for we women at this age, we always say we don't have, I think I even said it, that there's no time. There's no time to waste. Do you think that kind of mindset, is it pressure or wisdom? Because I feel like, does that kind of urgency make us lose our discernment? Does it cloud our judgment? Or is asking for clarity at 40 unreasonable?
No, it's not unreasonable. And again, remember what we've been saying, that it's the whole issue of readiness is not a function of age, and it's not even a function of the time that has gone, because
Mm,
it's possible to be ready at 25 and not ready at 45. It's
mm,
possible to be ready at 55 and not ready at 30.
mm.
Not really about age. It's about the ability to embrace responsibility, make a decision and a choice, and stand by it. However, looking at that, I don't have time to waste, no time to waste. Is it wisdom or is it pressure? When the belief system about I don't have time to waste means rushing into marriage, ignoring red flags, not willing to court for any reasonable length of time, that I've waited this long. I met you last week. Can we marry next week?
Mm,
Kind of mentality. That's not wisdom. That's pressure.
mm,
So the whole I don't have time is now hastening you to enter into something that you haven't even properly checked and verified, to ignore all sorts of red flags, and fasting becomes fast out. All right.
yeah.
However, if other side of this whole I don't have time to waste anymore, if it means refusing to wait indefinitely for someone to decide, you know how I'm just going to be waiting. The guy is giving me promises, giving me sign. I'm waiting. If you decide that I can't do that wait game with you, I can't do that wait game with you because I don't have time to waste. That's not pressure. That's wisdom.
That's wisdom. I agree.
That's wisdom. You know,
100%.
because look, listen. There's some guys that they're indecision. They will keep you for years and still marry somebody else.
God, may God deliver us from evil men.
Deliver us from evil men. But that's just the truth. That's what it is. So you're not having time to waste. It's not about waiting endlessly for it
Definitely.
to be ready. It's wisdom not to wait for such a man.
Yeah.
But if your I don't have time to waste is hurrying you to just get married as fast as possible to the first option that is now available, that's not wisdom. That's pressure.
Wow. Pastor T,
Hey,
thank you so much. Those are
you're
like
welcome.
real practical answers. And me, I'm getting my healing as we are talking as well. I want us to get inside the head of a ready man.
Hmm.
What actually shifts inside a man when he becomes ready for commitment?
Hmm.
Is it peace? Is it vision? Is it tiredness of casual things or a sense of responsibility? I know we've talked about responsibility. Is there more than responsibility?
Well, I think I've already alluded to it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. He hasn't met the one. So what happens is that what shifts in a man is that he has now met a woman, or the scales has fallen off his eyes. Sometimes it's not that he's met a woman, it's just that the scales are falling off his eyes as regards a woman that has been in his life, that I can't live without this person. The day he makes that realization, or the day he meets that woman, boom, he's ready. All of the story had been telling before, they all disappear.
Mm,
He's instantaneously. So he has the inside the man that is ready. The shift that has taken place is that he has found a woman he feels he cannot live without. He has
without.
fallen in love head over heels. At that point, he's going to be, even if he's not ready, even if we now look at the books and look at his finances and look at many things that say, bros, you're not ready now. He said, no, don't worry. Don't worry.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We go make a work. Everything will sort itself out. I'm ready for you now. You know. So and I know that that's not very comforting.
Mm-mm.
It's not very comforting because it's like, but there are some guys that they seem to be taking forever to be ready, and it seems as that I'm summarizing that forever that is taking is actually a smoke screen I'm not still sure that you are the one, and I'm trying to be sure. And sometimes that trying to be sure can go on and on and on, and he might settle at the end of the day.
But are there exceptions to this kind? There could be exceptions for some men. It's not because they are not in love with the person. It just maybe there's something else. Is there anything like that?
There is, because what it is that we are conditioned by belief systems
Mm,
grained in us growing up. So sometimes the guy could be truly in love and truly feels this is the one. But the teaching and the training he got when he was, and that was ingrained in him growing up, is that no, you must have so millions in your bank account. You must have finished building your first house. You know,
mm,
just some goalposts that have been set for him that he too has embraced and believed.
mm,
And so those goalposts become what is now delaying him, that makes him say, I'm not ready. But
mm.
the day he hears teaching like this,
Yeah,
and he just freed of that mindset.
yeah.
So what have I been waiting for since now?
Mm,
When I got married, I didn't have much. In fact,
mm,
I didn't have anything. I'd only just started practicing as a doctor, and it wasn't like I was earning big money then. I didn't have house. I
yeah.
didn't have car. I married my wife into a one-room apartment, not one bedroom.
Mm,
It's different. One bedroom apartment means the bedroom is separate from the living room. Okay, so the bedroom is separate, the living area is one room. Apartment is that there's this room, and that room is everything. Living area, bedroom, that room is where we function. Yeah. There's a bathroom attached. The kitchen is communal. That's how crazy committed, convinced I was.
mm,
Obviously, she was also. We
mm.
didn't stay there beyond 3 months before we now moved into a two-bedroom apartment, and then life has continued to move forward. But I could have said, no, I need to wait till I have a two-bedroom apartment. I can't be renting. I should be in a mortgage before I marry. I could have set all of those goalposts and
Yeah.
delayed my process and maybe even missed my process. So sometimes, yes, truly, a man can truly love a woman, but there are artificial goalposts that have been imposed upon him,
Mm,
his training, his upbringing, that he needs to be freed from to free him. There are so many goalposts we set up. Even some of the women have set goalposts. I want this kind of wedding, and if I can't have that kind of wedding, we can't be married yet. Come on, what are we talking about? Are we
Great
talking about your
expectation.
wedding day?
Great expectation.
I just like I was talking about the men earlier. Even the women too are like, I've waited this long. So if I'm getting married now, it must be the kind of wedding that is being paid.
Global now. Global. Let's go global. Let's brand the day.
The whole world must see. They must be saying, yes, so this is why she waited. Come
But
on.
it's sad because we are sometimes we find ourselves living our lives through the eyes of other people, doing things because of what we think people expect or want to let people know that we're not boring or we're not something is happening, But we're talking about a man that loves a woman. He has defined it. I love this lady, da 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 da. But still not ready to take it to the next stage. And not because he has not found the one, but because he has set some goalposts. But my question would be, is love without movement sustainable? If two people are in a relationship, they love each other, it's not an argument. This is a relationship that is heading towards marriage. But the man is yet to make that official, will you marry me and let's go ahead with this thing. How sustainable? And we're not talking about the 20 something ladies or men. These are mature men, a mature man and a woman. So how sustainable is that in the long run? How long should this woman be waiting for this man to be ready? Or is that something she needs to do to get him ready?
Well, it needs to be, and there's not much she can do. And I would not advise her to wait indefinitely. I think she has to reasonably within herself, put a timeline sooner than later on. If I don't get clearly defined plan, this is where we're going, this is when we are going there, then I need to move on. Because the whole I'm still trying to get ready or something might actually, that's at that point in time when it's taking too long, he's not really getting ready. It's just smoke screen for I'm still not sure. I'm still trying to decide whether indeed this is it and you are the one. So you don't want to give a long stay and wait on it. You see, a man that is truly ready might not be ready to marry next week. Yeah. But he will have a clear end goal.
Yeah.
He'll be given a timeline.
Yeah.
You see, ready men love definition and set goals.
Yeah.
Men that are not ready,
they don't like
avoid definition and don't want any time-framed goal. Any timeline. So a ready man, even though he might not be ready to say, okay, let's marry next week, he would still be saying, okay, we'll marry by October. Or we'll marry by, he will have a specific timeline. Beyond having that specific timeline, you will see movement towards the practical actions being taken towards the timeline. That's a man worth waiting for.
Yeah.
By their fruit you shall know them.
You shall know them.
That is just talking and talking. No movement, no action, no plan, no timeline.
Nothing.
I love you, I love you, I love you.
How long? I absolutely agree with you, PT. Just for me, there's no need to even wait for the man to define it. It's defined. Yes, by their fruits we shall know them. It's defined. Yeah. It's very defined. You're not a child. So sit yourself down. Ask yourself really hard questions to say, hey, young lady, what do you want out of this? If what you want out of this is not what you're getting, take a walk. You're not taking it. If maybe you've told your whole family that you're in love, tell them you're no longer in love. Nobody is coming to beat you. Is your life, is your business, is your shit. If you feel, except you're saying you're enjoying the waiting, that you don't care about how long it's taking, you're not in a hurry to even marry this man. The man has not even told you he's marrying you in the first place. But if you feel like you're enjoying what you have, chill, relax, enjoy the friendship, whatever it is you're getting out of it. But if you know that you're ready, and the guy is not ready, and he has shown in his actions that he's not ready, and he's not ready to define it, just sit yourself down, ask those difficult adult questions, answer it yourself, heal yourself, and move on.
That's it.
Because there's no need to stay in a place where you know, in your deep down, you know, this guy is not, he's not going to end where I think he's going to end.
Yep. Yep.
So why wait? Who are you trying to impress?
Yep.
Your friends that you've told, tell them it did not work out. Is it the first relationship that didn't work out? People are marrying and getting divorced. They're still moving on with their lives. You're not married. You're in a relationship. They've not even made you anything. And you want to die on top. Just move it. Keep moving.
That's it.
It's not easy. I know it's difficult, especially when you feel as a woman you've met the one and you're waiting for the one to speak. But if you can see that the one is not moving, move. And if he's the one, he will come right back to you. He will find you when he's ready. Maybe he has some baggage or in his past he's dealing with, which brings me to the next question, Pity. Hello, beautiful people. Before we end this part, let me say it clearly. A ready man does not create chronic confusion. He may not be perfect. He may still be growing, but he will not leave you suspended in uncertainty for years. Listen, if you constantly feel like you're guessing, if clarity only comes when you threaten to walk away, if progress depends on how much pressure you apply, that's not readiness. That's maintenance. At this age, 35, 40, 45, 50, whatever age you are, you're not called to manage potential. You are called to discern alignment. So here's the question I want you to think about as we wait for part 2 in the next episode. Are you waiting for readiness? Are you adjusting to hesitation? Because in part 2, we're going to talk more. We're going to answer hard questions. Is it better to be single than stuck? I'll see you in part 2.